I'm coming for you, baby. It is Chapter 7 on Legion. We're talking Season 1, Episode 7. We got so much explained on a blackboard. Stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello and welcome to the Legion After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. If you have not already, go to youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Hit subscribe. We're also on iTunes and SoundCloud. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. I'm joined by a lovely panel. Kari Lane is here.
What's up, guys? My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's Karidlane. And a quick shout out to Electro Threads. Check them out. And if you put in the code KLane, you get 20% off.
Awesome. And you were in the chat.
Yes. So I love that you guys are talking already so much. I was trying to catch up with you. So if you're watching it live, comment with us. And if you're watching it later, comment down below. We love your comments. I've read through many of them, and you guys are very insightful, and we love it.
Yeah, thank you. And Rick is here.
Oh, that's right, guys. Hey, so I am neither Chinese nor am I Japanese. I am Korean, and I'll tell you what, you can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHONG.
Oh, Melanie. You can tweet at me at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. I gotta tell you, last episode, my favorite thing was the dance routine. This episode, my favorite thing was this blackboard. This was amazing.
So good. The animated blackboard was entertaining.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I loved it. So we want to start with David, who was in his coffin, who then had a conversation with his rational mind, played by Dan Stevens with his normal accent.
Oh, I love that accent. It's
That's
so
right.
good. You're like, wait, British? What?
British.
Because that's the rational mind
Yeah.
from our American perspective, of course.
My rational mind is
Yes.
English. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mine's Korean. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, that's what people, when they speak another language, I'm always like, what language do you think in if you speak two languages?
My dad actually says he thinks and dreams in Korean. For me, it's actually English, but it also depends on who's in my dream. So, like, if you guys are in my dream, it wouldn't be Korean. If my parents were in my dream, they would not be speaking English to me.
We are way off topic. Let's get back. So David is stuck. We kind of get an explanation as to what is real and what isn't. For the first time, I think, on the show, everything in Clockworks is fake. David's coffin is fake. The room where the gun is frozen being shot is reality.
Yes.
I love that we finally get this explanation because we've spent the whole season being like, this isn't real. No, but this isn't real.
What's that?
But this isn't
It's
real.
all in his head. Oh my gosh. Yes. No, this episode finally laid down a whole bunch of things that yes, we can all make thoughts and suggestions about what we think is going on, but it's nice when the show goes, no, this is actually what is happening. We're like, thank you.
Yeah.
We were wondering.
When we see Amy's memories, because we talk about on the blackboard that David was adopted. When we see Amy's memories, did everyone catch what I caught? I was freaking out about the wheelchair in the memory was an X.
I didn't notice it was a wheelchair, but I noticed the X.
It was the wheel of the wheelchair.
Well, hopefully, that's what we think. We want to believe
Yes.
that.
I want to believe that that's what that was.
Chat room is commenting that that's what it is too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Because
you're not alone.
We all know who that is.
Yes.
And if you don't, spoiler, it's a wheelchair with an X.
Yeah.
Put it together. I absolutely loved this episode. I loved explanations of the memories. I liked seeing David's biological father, who must be a psychic, doing this. I was
and
like,
bald.
yes, and bald.
But walking?
Well, so yes, here's why I think that's totally reasonable. Anyone who knows this character, when he battles in the astral plane,
he can
that's
walk.
right.
He walks.
Yes.
That's right. That's true.
So the rational mind reminds David that the battle between his biological father and the monster would not be a fist fight. It would be a mental fight in the astral plane. Sorry.
And of course, he didn't draw any hair on it or anything. So.
No. It made me so happy.
It was technically the first time we've really heard the words Shadow King confirmed.
Absolutely. So the scene we had with Oliver and Carrie where they're finishing each other's sentences, I freaking loved this moment.
So cute.
Oliver is becoming one of the best characters because he's so rarely seen. You know, it's hard to fall in love with a character that's not there all the time. But it's so easy to fall in love with
But my other thing too is it's like, would we love that character? I mean, I know we would, but like just as much as like it's because we love seeing Jermaine Clement.
Right.
He's so good
That
at
helps a lot.
playing that character.
But you're right. Would we love him if we saw him all the time and he was like this?
No.
No, he'd get on our nerves.
You'd just be like, okay, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's like loving a candy or something really good. You're just like, okay, you have it too much. You're like, it's
Yeah.
oversaturated. But when you have it every once in a while, it's like, yes, it's
That's
back.
a treat. It's like a treat. Yeah.
Yes.
I like that we're calling him a treat.
He is.
He is. Oh, his silly, silly treat. But you're right. So we have this explanation between Carrie, male Carrie, and Oliver about Farouk, the Shadow King, that he is a mutant parasite and that his goal is revenge. That's what we learned from the Blackboard experience. And that his goal is to take revenge on David's father, whoever that may be. I think this was really an amazing episode. The scene where we have Carrie talking to Sid, when Sid is like,
Oh, she's like, I know.
I've caught up. I love when he's like, it would be easier if I just speak. And she goes, no. What did you think?
Oh, it's so good. And just because she's not a dumb character. And it's not that he assumes she is either. He's just like, how on earth would you know? And she's like, no, I've been paying attention.
Yeah.
So then he's kind of relieved, like, oh, good. Okay, moving on.
Well, that's a really good point, is that she isn't dumb and that his assumption is this is really complicated. And,
It is.
And her response is, I got it.
Yeah.
My eyes are open.
But how many other people has he interacted with that knows? So, I mean, he's not totally in the wrong for going, do you understand what's going on?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
super
and,
complicated.
and all that whole stuff is all
Yeah.
confusing. So it's just, dude, let me
Yes.
explain it to you.
Yeah.
But don't eat it.
So they have a plan. He's going to go deal with Oliver. They're going to deal with what's happening in reality. And she's going to go save everyone from Clockworks with the magic glasses.
Everybody's like, can we get the real world glasses? Who cares about 3D glasses?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the reverse. It's like a
So
reverse
nice.
of 3D.
Yeah.
It's a reverse of 3D. That's
Because it's
really
like, vent everything out.
Yeah.
And then actually it makes sound go away too.
Yeah, the escape.
But I loved it.
I love this escape sequence. We have Oliver doing, I wrote his masterpiece, where he keeps writing, he's finding the words for shield. Did you guys notice that the words that were being formed around them? So he's doing this masterpiece of
Yes.
letters, and it spells out shield.
I didn't
shield,
read the
shield.
word shield,
Really?
but I like
Security,
that.
Homeland.
Kind of
Yes,
random
he
funny
chose
thing.
Shield.
Raymond in the chat says, as a former Englishman, I love David's rational mind being Dan's authentic voice.
Wait, as a former
Former
English?
As in, does that mean, I think he probably, that person lives here now.
But still
Or
English.
somewhere. In the astroplane, maybe?
Or
in the
not
Astro
in England anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's still English.
Yeah, I was
It's
going
not-
to say.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, sir, but
That's true, depending on how long you've been somewhere.
yeah. So the words shield were coming up. Is that a nod to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., seeing as how Marvel Universe?
Oh.
Or is it just a shield?
Literally shield.
Yeah. I thought it was literally shield, but I really
I
like
went
where
literally.
your head's at.
Yeah.
Just, security, Homeland, whatever it was,
Whatever the
investigation.
rest
I go
Yeah.
with literally a shield, which that was cool, just a new power to see. And I figured he would be able to do more since he's been in the astral plane longer, and he doesn't have those restrictions. It's like the Matrix. He understands, like, I can do anything I want.
Right.
And because you don't have those inhibitions of like, oh no, wait, I can't really. He's like, I can make it. It's cool.
But
So it's
how
cool.
was it? So maybe you guys can help me understand this. So when they all returned to their bodies in the end, we confirmed that Oliver and Carrie, who were manipulating the real world from the astral plane, that's why they couldn't move anyone,
Yes.
because they weren't really there.
Yes.
So how would his shield have helped?
Somehow that's able to transcend because that's not necessarily his physical body.
Okay. Any thoughts?
That's his
I'm
mutant power.
clueless on that one. I'm like,
I'm leaving it to the chat
Yeah.
then. How would the shield have crossed over from the astral plane? Especially because Carrie is able to move the halo
Yes.
from himself to David, but they couldn't move David
Or the bullets.
or
yeah.
the bullets.
at the same time, he wasn't actually able to execute the whole thing because he got cock blocked.
Right.
So maybe that's why we didn't maybe there's going to be like another outcome that we would have seen.
There was like another step that we were missing.
Maybe that's
Oh,
what
no,
I
but
figured.
Maybe.
I accept it. That is fact. That is why it would have worked.
Did either of you actually think he got shot? I was worried.
I thought maybe, but then I remember that I saw him put his hand back there, and I was like, that's a weird thing to do. I was like, if he's catching bullets, that's so cool.
Either that, I was thinking it might be like one of those like Wolverine things where it goes into his back, and then all of a sudden you see it just pop right back out.
Wait, we're totally disregarding the shield. What if it hit the shield and fell down to his hand?
No, the shield got destroyed, didn't it? When
Or did it?
or did it?
Right?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
I'll allow it.
Because the bullets weren't bloody in his hand.
No, not at all.
No, 'cause
there's definitely no penetration.
It's not a good enough reason to use the term penetration. I think that he didn't catch the bullets as they were shooting. I think
more
he
like-
he stopped the bullets
Yeah.
in his hand. Hence, no blood.
Yeah.
It's like a little magneto.
Yeah.
Well, telekinesis, but yeah.
I like the shield and it fell down.
Yeah, I like that idea too. So we're going with that. So let's talk about this silent movie style escape.
Yes.
This show, it's like every episode they go, what would be an interesting way to do this? Everything they do, they go, what would be an interesting way to do it? Rather than just show it. And we have this silent movie where female Carrie and Sid and Rudy, we get like confirmation on what's going on with Rudy.
Yes.
Shout out to Brad Mann, who played Rudy.
We only got to see her
Yeah.
powers for a little
Or
bit.
stabbed.
Yeah, but we get a confirmation, and it
Yeah.
totally makes sense based on last week's conversation. We confirmed that the reason he's drooling is because he's dying.
Poor guy.
So in the reality, Melanie whispers to him
We don't know what.
some secret,
Yeah.
which I believe is you're the sign to let them know that it's time. Or because Carrie says to Sid, I'll give you a sign when it's time to come out.
Oh, okay. And then also we need to clarify maybe a little bit because we talked about it last week. Melanie's powers. Okay. I really liked your explanation of how we know she's a telepath. However, it was heard in David's mind, so potentially he could have reached to her and talked to her rather than her reach out to him.
I don't know. So I personally do not know that she is a telepath. I think that has never been confirmed to us.
I feel the same way you do too. I liked your explanation. It's
Yeah,
like I
so
don't think
I'm glad
that-
you're bringing this up because a lot of people have said to us.
Yeah,
that-
chat rooms like and you guys in the chat, thank you so much for talking about it on the comments as well of like, no, she's a telepath. But then I hadn't thought about it your way until you pointed out like, well, wait,
So-
it's only with David.
Yeah,
really.
so we've never seen her actually use her telepathic powers. What we've seen is her say, David, listen to my voice.
Yes.
He is a telepath.
Yeah.
So he's hearing voices, and therefore he can put his voice into her mind, and he can hear hers. She is not necessarily a telepath.
Yeah.
So we have no confirmation that she has any powers aside from teamwork, I believe was suggested
That
last
was a
week.
good one. Well, because the thing is, like, we've just haven't seen her really display them. I feel she
Yes.
has something, but
I'm
the
sure
other
she
characters
does.
have been so much more obvious about what they are. So for her, we're all like, and for people like, duh, she has this power. I'm like, well, if anything, her power has only really been seen in like episode 1 or 2 kind of idea. Like in the very beginning. So it's been a while that it's like, or she doesn't do enough that we're like, does she have powers?
to have
even?
confirmation.
Do you
To
have
have
powers?
confirmation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I
it's
assume
not
she
like we
does.
didn't get it. It's more just like, really?
Yeah, is that her
Everybody
power?
else has been so much more obvious.
Yes. Great point. Thank you for bringing that up. And thank you to everyone in the chat who
Thank you.
keeps chatting with us about it. So, what I was saying was, I think that when she's whispering into Rudy in reality, and we don't hear it, it is her telling him that he is the sign, because Carrie says to Sid, I'll tell you when it's time to come out. And so at that moment when he jumps on Lenny, that is when everything starts to happen. That said,
He was at least able to help.
he was able to help. His last moments were to help.
He sacrificed himself.
He's a hero.
And not just only silent, it was black and white, too.
Yeah. What was a silent movie
Yes.
style? So last week we talked about how Lenny felt very Tim Curry in Rocky Horror. Is that what you said?
Yep.
this week, Lenny felt Beetlejuicy.
Yeah, Tim Burton,
Yep.
Tim Burton,
Very Tim Burton.
Beetlejuice.
Or
Yeah,
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, Edward
Those hair.
Scissorhands is what I was thinking. Yeah.
Really? I totally felt, I was like, oh, it's Beetlejuice.
Maybe a combo. I felt the
Said it
hair
twice.
was more Edward Scissorhands, so it made me think of it, but the suit was more made me think Beetlejuice.
And, I mean, and with
We've
a,
said
with,
it
a,
3 times now, just to be clear.
with a little touch of Johnny Depp, Benny and June.
Okay.
With
yeah.
a little touch of that.
Yeah.
All right.
Chat room is absolutely loving that segment, and yeah, the show is amazing. Of like, yeah, what can we do different? What can
Right.
we make this super different? But it totally fits because it's in the mind. You can do whatever you want.
I mean, the show really, this episode is probably the best episode I've ever seen on any show in terms of directing. And it's a real clinic for people that want to be directors or aspiring to. Watch this and say, hey, if I can do something cool like this is what's going to get you signed. This is what's going to get you noticed. If you can't do something like this, you better have like brilliant storytelling in a script.
So don't suck, is what he said.
Yeah.
So Rudy saves us, and that takes us to reality. Because David is coming out of his coffin / blackboard school. I was like, where's that shot? I feel like I was at my college. It felt so at home. And he escapes and is going through his door maze. That was so infuriating. And every time he walks through the door and he gets angry, all I could think was like, girl, like, you know that.
Blast it all.
Yeah, but also like, girl, it keeps happening. You're not like, you know that's not the door out. You got to keep going.
Do a different door.
Yeah, like, girl, come on.
You refer to David as girl.
I refer to everyone as girl.
That's
like
funny.
It. Do it.
Girl, calm down. So he comes out, he breaks through. We all appear in reality. And after we're all saved, except for the eye, let's talk about
Yes.
Oh, Mackenzie
Oh,
Gray.
Shout out to Mackenzie Gray, who plays the eye.
Yes.
Who is such an amazing actor because he looks, I don't know if you guys have looked at photos, but he looks so different depending on what's going on with his hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
So different
Well, yeah,
person
without the
completely.
perm, he's got the, yeah.
But it's so, they're so different.
Yep.
Amazing. And this episode, less rapey,
Yes.
for sure.
Creepy.
Creepy. More like gonna murder you.
Yes.
It's kind of like a little Jason meets the Terminator
Yeah.
type,
Terminator
just
keep
chasing
coming.
you. Yeah, it just keeps coming after
And
you.
the people in the hospital were very zombie-esque. Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
I felt like just like, rawr. And,
I
you
was
know.
trying to look last week. I think it was Adrian who was pointing out that it was them in the background.
Yes.
And
I didn't
this
think,
week it was
I
not.
didn't notice.
No.
Yeah.
No. This
The
week it was
faces were,
different.
too much like people from like The Walking Dead or something.
Maybe it was. You don't know what Lenny watches. So once we've saved everyone except for Rudy and the eye, who got crushed.
Compacted.
Disgusting.
Like an
So
aluminum can or like a
good.
piece of paper just.
Well,
Yes.
the crazy part is that in the mind he gets crushed, but in reality his head just starts like bleeding
Yep.
until they are back in their bodies and he gets crushed.
Yep. What do you guys think of this? Jeanette in the chat says the eye's death equals karma.
Aww.
I know, right?
Yes.
You're like, aw.
Yeah, absolutely.
But huge shout out to him because he reached out and commented on the video last week and on Twitter, and he's awesome.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Gray, you're the man.
Woo!
So David transports us back to some. That was amazing. Once he like has the halo on and he's like, "I got this," and he takes everyone back to Summerland. Not into Summerland, to the woods next to Summerland, and makes them walk. What a jerk! He couldn't get them to the door.
He's still learning. At
All
least he
right.
didn't transport him into the walls.
Fair point. Very fair point. But I love because it took me a second when Carrie was like, "Don't take off the halo." I was like, "How long has he been walking that now we occurred to him to take off the halo?" And I went, well, they just got there because he transported them. That was my bad. I was nitpicking, but it was
It's okay.
I nitpick.
We're super fans. That's why we nitpick.
That's why I nitpick.
Because then you think about it, like, realistically, and go, wait, this thing.
Yeah. I also really appreciate an explanation about the halo that it has not removed the parasite.
Right.
It has basically put him back in the coffin.
Yes. Oh, that shot was great, too, and cutting between the different visuals of the Shadow King. Though it was interesting that David sees the angriest boy inside Summerlin.
I believe I'm gonna make some assumptions here. that is because he is breaking free from.
Well, they had the crack.
Right.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
That he's coming out, and so parts of him are slipping out. Yes.
Okay.
You have
Thanks
stuff
for.
in the
I
chat?
love that you all research, and we're saying love because we are super fans.
Yeah.
DYGZ, I'm not really sure how you pronounce that, but I just watched the scene in episode 2. Melanie tells David that the division is after people like him and Sid. She doesn't seem to include herself as a mutant. So that's a huge possibility, too, that she's not even a mutant at all.
That she's just married to one.
She could be.
That she's like somebody's.
Because I know a lot of you are reconfirming, like, no, she's a telepath, but besides the scene that she's talked with David and done the memory work, has she done anything else?
Right.
Not really.
She doesn't do the memory work.
Yeah.
Patani
She helps guide,
does.
but I mean, like, how she helps guide it a little bit, sort of.
She does talk work. I think she's a therapist.
Yeah. So it's possible.
Isn't she Dr. Melanie Bird?
Yeah.
I may have been making that up.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't remember if she's a doctor. So we're in reality, we're in Summerland. She's sad about Oliver because he's not in his astronaut suit. But
Well, I was wondering what's up with opening up Oliver's face mask. I'm like, would that kill him? Because it seemed like he was supposed to be like kept in the chamber.
I think we saw her open it up before because I think we saw her open it up last time she went down.
Oh, I
to
don't
visit.
remember her
I don't
actually
remember.
opening it.
Yeah, I don't remember if she opened it or not. But he's not there because he's in the kitchen making breakfast.
But he hasn't seemed to age too much either.
What do you mean?
He doesn't look a whole lot older the way she's older to how long it's been. I mean,
Well-
they just put some gray on him. We don't know what he looked like before. But
Yeah, and they talk about cryogenic
I kind
chamber.
of wondered. Yeah, so maybe that helped not age him too much.
You think he looks younger than her?
Yes.
Hey, I mean, she can be an older woman.
No, that's
No, no,
possible
no, no.
too. But
No,
it's
that's
just
not the
interesting
point.
of like how he's tucked away that it doesn't seem he aged the same way.
Oh.
Sure.
It's more that. But if he's in a
That's-
cryogenic suit,
chamber, yeah.
it maybe affected how he aged.
That's so interesting because I definitely did not notice that and thought of them as he looks old to me.
He has some grays that I'm like, not that she looks old. Just saying.
Jean
but,
Smart, you
like,
look great.
together,
You look
yeah.
great. You're beautiful.
Great.
Don't worry.
I think somebody said some comment like MILF for her.
Oh yeah.
Jean Smart, yeah.
So
you-
I was just
yup.
curious because she commented it's been so long,
Right.
But she hasn't. I would be more interested if she goes, "Wow, you look so ... You know, if she says anything, that's when we'll
Okay.
go. Oh, okay.
Right. All right. That's
Yeah.
fair. But he's making breakfast. He's still figuring out who she is.
Yeah.
But I love
Is she
that
Chinese? Is she Japanese?
Nebuchadnezzar in the chat says, "Have you noticed that Summerland was completely empty and nobody cared?"
Yeah, I feel like
There's some interesting things with. Come on, they wake up everybody like, "Hey guys, we're all gonna go on this
And only
raid,"
three
and like,
people show up.
yeah. So yeah.
But that is a really good point because of how the ending comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that absolutely plays into nobody being there. It didn't occur to them, but
Yes.
everybody's been taken already.
That's very true.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So good calling that out. We also have this Carrie new dynamic where male Carrie is like, "Let me take care of you," and she's all pissed because
Are
he
you
abandoned
hungry? You want
her.
some breakfast?
Yeah. He didn't come. I'd be more upset. It's not necessarily he just left her. He didn't come back and grab her.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe he was going to come back and get her sooner.
I also thought that. I thought that after he got Sid,
Yeah.
he was going to
He's
go
like,
get
"I'll
her.
be right back." Yeah.
But maybe he needed to be in cahoots with Oliver and try to figure out, okay, can we get things going?
Maybe.
And so it was, you know, it's just like if I try to do this, this, and this, it may slow up the process. So like I need to go to Oliver, who's got an understanding of everything that's going on.
I
Yeah.
also think he could have said to her, like, "You can handle yourself."
Oh, he could have said
Like,
something. That's true.
Because she didn't need him to save her.
It's possible. Somebody said, I can't find it right now, but just he's at odds with himself now, essentially.
Oh,
Yeah.
so true.
Oh, there we go. Good guy says Carrie is at odds with himself. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's true. Of like, I don't know. It's a little issue. I was sad to see them upset with each other.
Yeah, I don't like it when they're not.
No.
They're such a perfect being.
Yes.
That I don't like when they're unhappy.
Because he's like, "Do you want to?" And she's like, "No."
No. Yeah.
Breakfast.
Like, oh.
So there's this other moment that I want to make sure we touch on because it was crazy. When Amy's trying to apologize to David, she says, "I should have told you about the man." And then he says, "What man?" And then they just gloss over it.
I thought it was her father. I mean, his father.
You think that she met his father?
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, probably because she was probably at least somewhat old enough to know that someone came and said, "Hey, here's this kid."
Right.
Or
Well, we
have
saw
like a
her
vague...
memories where she saw that somebody.
And she was a very young child too, so it's always hard to trust what your memories
Right.
actually are.
Interesting.
Who did you think it was? Then?
I thought that it was something related to Division 3, maybe. That somebody came. I should have told you
that
about the
early?
man.
Not even in my scope.
No.
Wow.
So my thought was that somebody, after he was adopted, somebody came for him.
Mm-hmm.
And she should have told him. You know what I mean? Like something, like she said, we knew you were different. You weren't sick. I should have known.
Yeah.
Maybe someone came and said he's not sick.
No, I like that theory. I like that theory too.
I like the theory, but
You all
didn't
assumed
occur
it
to
was
me.
the father.
Yeah.
Interesting. I also seem to make things up. That's a thing I do.
No, it's
Well,
okay.
but
It's
this is
like,
the perfect show
Yes.
to have a lot of speculation. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Before we get to the ending, I want to take a minute to thank everyone. Thank you so much, everybody who's here. We have one episode left.
One left.
Oh, that's crazy.
I
I'm
know.
sad it's so short.
Me
But
too.
I'm happy we already know now, renewed for season 2.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
And it's really concise storytelling. There's
Yeah.
no fillers. There's no
Exactly.
emptiness. It's very just concise. You know, and like they've done a good job with this episode to really say, okay, all those 6 episodes that we really screwed with you. Okay, here's some like definitive answers, and now, we're moving on to the.
Yeah.
absolutely.
The
I
meat
feel
of it.
like the first
Yep.
5 were like that. Last week and this week were like,
Well-
here's info.
This show is so dense, they needed that much setup to be like, hey, here's all the information.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I was saying was, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to everyone who is live in the chat with us. We know it is a late show. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you to everyone who is up in the middle of the night from wherever you may
Yes.
be. We do this show because we love it. As we said, we are super fans. I love the X-Men. And we ask you to do a very simple thing. Make sure you've subscribed on iTunes. That way you do not miss a single episode like the finale. But also rate and review us. If you like us, you can give us 5 stars. If you don't like us, you can give us 4 stars. The other stars, they don't work. I checked them again this morning. Still broke.
Darn.
So please rate and review. Leave comments. If you give us a 4, let us know what it is that we can do to improve. Because like David, we're trying to get better. We're just trying to get better.
You wanna hear?
Yes.
I was going to say fun, crazy thought. And this is why we enjoy talking with you
Yeah,
all so
what do we
much.
got?
Renji says, it would be interesting twist that Magneto's the actual father, but Xavier did hide him.
I really like that idea.
Because as well as, yes, we all know the comics, guys, but it's a funny thought. Just how we had other theories of like, wait, who's the mom? It's like, it's fun to have our theories. It's like, yes, we know source material, but it's
Yeah.
a show. They can deviate a little bit.
They really
and-
deviated with everyone else.
Yes, and a couple other people are liking your theory of saying, like, maybe it's not necessarily Professor X because there's already so many other nods to him already in the episode.
That the man was not.
Because,
his
like, the
father.
wheelchair X, the
Yeah.
chalkboard even, like,
No
all
hair.
that, there was enough
Yeah.
that maybe the man comment wasn't necessarily.
About his father.
So, kind of
We'll
a
see.
split table there.
I love it. So as he sees the angry boy and panics, and Carrie's like, I love it. Carrie's like, we gotta go to the lab. I said
On
this.
the other side.
Yeah, but I also I said this when we got here is that we should go to the lab. Like, I said this and no one listened to me, and then we had breakfast. We should have gone to the.
Hey, people are
damn-
hungry. You have a big old. You come near death. You're like, dude, I'm starving.
You know what? Carrie and David could go
They've
to the
worked
lab.
real hard.
Sid would bring them food. They
To-go
have
boxes,
work to do.
guys.
And you had a guy from like
Bring
a
it over.
cryonic chamber like making
Yes,
you breakfast. I
that's
mean,
true.
dude, I would go in a second and be like, yes. Forget Denny's all super grand
Oh.
slam and
Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar says, anonymity is our first line of defense. I don't think that Mr. X would have left any evidence about him, so that man has to be somebody else.
I
And
also think the reason Amy's memory of it is so
could have been adjusted.
is she's so not sure of what she saw is because it was adjusted for her.
Yeah, and then a kind of prediction and comment. I want to say it's Shiria. I think he's going to have to end up letting out the Shadow King in order to save everyone, and then David won't be able to regain control from him, and that'll be the lead into season 2. David will be perceived as a villain doing all these bad things, but we will know it's not really him.
Damn it.
I like it.
Those are our predictions for when we got to predictions.
That's okay.
But we're
I
not there
like
yet.
you. Yes, comment later when we get to predictions. Let us know your predictions because often it inspires me of like, oh yeah, this is a good idea.
That was my thought.
I'm gonna steal that and say, you know what my prediction is?
Wait,
That's what I said.
Let's finish this
No,
episode.
I'm
yes.
kidding.
Yeah.
I have like 2 sentences left.
Okay.
Division 3 appears.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, which actually explains why there was no one around.
Yes.
Hamish Linklater returns. He has 3rd-degree burns.
Yep,
And,
and
he
a funky
says,
eye.
and a funky eye.
You're right.
Is he the eye?
Yeah, I mean, was there a
no.
mine like you know?
I like the idea. And he says, we got him. You can kill the others.
Yeah.
It's time for predictions.
That was like a oh shit moment.
And
like,
now,
no, don't
your
kill the
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, here's what we have. I took meticulous notes. Here's what we have in the promo for next week. The season finale of Legion on FX. Melanie says to Hamish, I'm just calling him Hamish because he doesn't have a name. The interrogator, I believe, was what he was
Right.
referred to.
Sure.
Yep.
You were right about David. He's a world breaker. What? David versus Division 3. We have like a battle in the woods outside Summerlin. Sid says, I don't care if you save me, save yourself. Somebody says permission to launch the Peacemaker. It sounded like Male Carey's voice, but we don't know. David versus Hamish. Hamish basically says, you're gods, and someday you're going to stop listening to us because you don't have to. And David responds, isn't that the history of the world? I predict, like somebody already stole, that he has to release the Shadow King to get out of this situation. Or the Shadow King is like, I'm going to save us all. And that is the Shadow King speaking when he says, isn't that the history of the world? But also, we saw in his depiction on the blackboard, the Shadow King's goal, at least what David thinks it is to take over the world and exact his revenge on his biological father. And be a god. Thoughts, predictions.
Totally
speak.
random comment, but I like it, and I don't think I've noticed it.
Absolutely.
Helena says, I love how the bad guys always cock/load their guns, but don't shoot them for minutes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Do we have to go? Can we go?
We're gonna kill them
Yes.
all.
I like the idea that he has to release the Shadow King to move forward, but then I wonder if he would be the only one to defeat it, or if he needs outside help, or if the others could even help him defeat the Shadow King on the outside. There's probably more to Division 3 than we maybe know about.
I really want to explore them and what they're doing. What do you got?
They're gonna have a big old battle. This is a finale. There's gonna be a big old battle, and I actually think that it probably should come down to David. You know, like now that he knows everything, he knows how to harness his power. He defeats the Shadow King. Division 3 is still gonna be an enemy, and then new enemy in season 2.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. I like it.
I really like the idea that this season has been building David as our hero, but that he turns out to be the villain. That the Shadow King does take over in some way, and next season we have to defeat David again as the Shadow King. Yeah.
What about this? Nebuchadnezzar says, it would be cool and weird if Lenny and the Eye would be other personalities in David's mind in the future.
What do you mean?
Well, in terms of even after he defeats them, they're still stuck around. Because we were talking about like how we haven't really addressed exactly how he acquires personalities just yet.
So like if the Eye is now a version of Lenny.
Yeah.
Hence new villain.
Right. So like somewhere in there. Dragon Artist says Oliver is probably a decent match for Shadow King, so maybe he can help.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good
Right?
point.
Or they team up together. Helena says hashtag big ol' battle.
Yes. Hashtag
Yep.
big
See,
old
that's
battle.
what I said.
So it's interesting. I hope Oliver. I want the other people to like team effort. Like it's a tour. I'm torn between. I want David to do it all by himself. / I want the team to all get together and do it.
I really
Kind of like we
know?
saw in the beginning in
Yeah.
the pilot where it was like the breakout.
Yeah.
Well, Ptolemy kind of like was irrelevant this episode.
Yeah.
Because we're no longer reflecting.
Was he even?
Yes. So he did appear.
I was gonna say I'm like he was barely there, right?
Yeah, he appeared when they all returned to their bodies.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
big sigh. He was like,
He returned to his body and then I
Yes.
assume went home, but hasn't said anything since, I'm sure, because he's dealing with his own trauma. But
Yeah.
also, like, at this point, we're moving forward and his power is to reflect on your memories.
Eric in the chat says on the previews it looks like David is really going to open up and show off how powerful he is, which will be great.
Oh, I can't wait.
And we talked a little bit about the rational David, but how much did we talk about how he was created by his own power, almost as a defensive mechanism?
Yeah, we didn't really get into that, but I think it's really interesting that, Rick, you pointed out that you think David, now that he knows how to use his powers, is going to use them. I think he still doesn't know.
I don't.
Okay.
I agree.
It's still
not enough.
I think he's going to try. I mean, he tries to do things. Like we said, he tried to transport them and got them like 2 blocks away. Close, but not where he was going, I assume.
Oh, Pat Swayze says, what if the Shadow King takes over Oliver at the end of the next episode into season 2?
Oh, that's a good little cliffhanger.
And a few people are pointing out how Oliver already previously mentioned after being cryogenically in that chamber that he is not strong enough to fight the Shadow King. So good observation, everybody.
I think Oliver he doubts himself. I think he's underestimating himself because as we saw, Oliver had the power to bring himself out of
his slumber.
Like he freed himself essentially.
Yep.
But he lost something though too by not recognizing Melanie. There's something that he lost in that process.
He said it's been so long though.
I
felt it's more just being frozen, and it's been years that he said like his memories kind of faded away.
I don't know that that's because of the time. I think that's because of the astral plane. Right? He said when Melanie first explained that he was there, she was explaining that he kind of lost himself as he's been spending more time there. And so when he says daylight savings, he's like, I had a feeling it's coming. I don't know what it means. Oh, I thought we were saving daylight. I think in the astral plane, the longer you're in there, the more you kind of lose touch with reality.
Yeah.
Sure.
In both a literal and figurative sense. And so I think that's why he doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
And not because of time, but because of the astral plane.
Yep.
We'll go with both.
Yeah, it's like the movie Mazes. And
well, it's how long you've been in the astral plane too could affect you in a different way. Because if you were there for a day versus a decade, kind of a different effect on you.
I would like to see what happens to David if he were to spend too much time there, because I feel like there would be more dance numbers.
Yes.
And I want that. I want more dance numbers like in the first episode.
Eric Scott says, I think referring to Oliver, martinis give him his power.
Yes.
Yes, a lot of people like
he
that.
He needs more vermouth.
No, too much vermouth. He needs more vodka.
Less.
Yes. Eric Scott says, when they had the guns on him, he even put his hands up and took a sip of his martini.
I do like when he just is sitting there.
He's like, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me do my thing.
Wonderful. I loved the masterpiece. This episode was absolutely beautiful.
So much going on. Good stuff.
Any final thoughts? Because I'm coming for you, baby. That was my favorite line.
Oh, I love the visual shot, too, when Lenny just squats down with the flashlight going on, and just how that was lit was so cool. And it made her look cool, too, of just her physicality and flexibility, too, of, some people, just how they lean and whatever is not the same. Like, there's the real openness in those hips and, like, knees. I do enough yoga, guys.
Tell me more.
It goes with my chakra shirt. But like it was cool to see her body move that way, and just I really like her transformation of. She's always been really good with like being kind of weird, but like that commanding of the space was so good. And then the poor Carrie and sit on the ground and like the gun gesture.
Head.
Yep.
Oh,
the choreography of that. Yeah, the choreography of that.
So this episode,
absolutely. Every
Clinic and
episode.
directing.
woo,
This episode's amazing.
just they build and build and build.
Until next week, the season finale. Yes.
Wait, I do kind of have this question.
Hold that noise.
Hold on. Michael B says, "What was the Shadow King looking for? Like where he hid it?"
Yes. I have it written real big at the beginning. He said, what did he do with it?
Yes.
We have no idea.
Okay.
There's no answer to that. All we know is what did he do with it? What did he do with it? Do we think we'll get an answer next week?
Only if the Shadow King's not necessarily destroyed. Depending on how quickly they dispose of him, I don't know how quickly. If the Shadow King's not out and about, I don't know how quickly he'd be looking for it, whatever it is.
The question now is, if the Shadow King no longer exists, would someone else be looking for whatever it is?
My precious.
Yes.
I don't know.
One ring to rule them all?
It's a
Spear of
question.
Destiny?
But it was something in his mind, so it could be a memory.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was that, like something like David had tucked away.
But what did he do with it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Tucked deep in the recesses of his mind.
Well, I mean, and what we know from this show is that there's always like some little morsel that they reveal later. So.
Yeah.
Helena says maybe the Shadow King's original body.
Maybe. He is trying to get a body.
Maybe.
It's an excellent
That's
one.
a thought.
That is a good thought and a good prediction. So until
All right.
next week for the season finale, Rick, where can people keep up with you?
You guys can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHONG.
And other shows you do?
Oh, I do The Expanse with Carrie tomorrow, and I do Homeland on Sundays, and yeah.
Carrie?
Awesome. You guys can find me online at Kari D Lane, and yes, The Expanse on Thursdays at 5. Magicians on Wednesdays before this show at 9. Box Office Breakdown on Sundays and Time After Time on Mondays. And also, like I said, go check out Electro Threads and you can get some awesome stuff. And if you put in Kari Lane, you get 20% off. And I love it. It's
nice.
beautiful colors. I just love the colors. Actually, it goes really well with the Legion logo of just all this pretty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And what's the website again?
I just go on Instagram and check out Electro Threads.
Electro Threads. You can find me, Yael Tygiel, everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL, as well as on after shows here at AfterBuzz, the Grimm After Show for the final season, the Switched at Birth After Show for the final season. Law and Order Special Victims Unit returns tomorrow, but so does Gay Weekly Roundtable. Check me out there. Until then, we will see you next time for the season finale.
That's right.
Woo! See ya!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.